Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our third installment of our Inspire series, I'm going to call it, and Fireside Chats. And got my good friend again with me, Joe Zinni.
How are you, Tim?
I'm doing well today. How about you?
I love our Fireside Chats.
I do.
These are, it's something that we've talked in the past. We get together, we talk about. All of a sudden, you came up and said, let's do videos on that.
Right.
Let's keep a record of what we're talking about. And
That's
I think
right.
it'll help us, when we talk about things, bring it to fruition.
Well, it helps people also. Being aware in life is huge to me.
Yep.
And I think the more you make people aware, the more things happen in their life.
I agree, because part of what we're going to talk about today, the inclusiveness. When you make them aware, you're including them, and I think it's important for people, whether it's in business or in any kind of relationship, clubs. I know that you're on the school committee. You don't just walk in there and say, we're going to do this, this, and that. It's all about communication and leadership.
Listening, asking questions.
Right.
It's a lot. And today you're going to be talking about boss versus leader.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big thing in today's life, because I think things have changed in life.
I agree. I thought of this a while ago, and I've worked for bosses and I've worked for leaders, and there's a giant difference.
There is.
And I've always looked at you, long before I was working for you, I looked at you as a leader. Because when we've had the conversation, you talked about how you would explain what's going on. You have people here at Wood Palace including it in almost everything that you do.
Right.
You communicate probably even overly so. You let everybody know what's going on, and I think that makes them feel important too.
Exactly, because they're part of the catalyst.
Yeah.
I think what happens is when you open up leadership instead of being a boss, you open up people's minds. You enact them to start thinking for themselves.
Exactly.
Because really the best way is to think for yourself.
Exactly.
Because I think you unwind things that might be complicated to you or don't understand. And like I said, is by leading your people and asking them good questions, it opens up their minds, and awareness is such a key in this life. I can't say that enough, because when you're aware about what's going on around you, if opportunity crosses your path, you see it quicker.
Yep.
And to me, that's what life's all about. Finding opportunities in what you do.
Yeah. And you hit the key thing is that you're making them think for themselves. Therefore, they're going to be quote unquote aware. And then, like you said, they're going to see the opportunities that you see. You're making them look in the direction that you're looking. I talk to you often, and I've been in the room when you've talked about different things, and you see things that other people don't see. Because that's your mind. As a business owner and a businessman, you need to be that way.
Right.
You talked to Erica Madden from the Star on the radio show a couple weeks ago, and I was listening to it, and you made a valid point about both of you. You have to constantly think. So if you're making somebody else think, you're not bossing them around, you're leading them.
That's right.
And to me, that's a huge difference.
Well, a lot of people have a lot of good ideas of what they really should do to get themselves where they want to go. You just have to get it out of them. Again, it's just like sales. You got to ask questions and listen. Asking questions opens people up. They start to understand things better about what's going on, and especially at work. I mean, work. I hate it that people just have to come to work. I want people to come here and want to work. I leave this place at the end of the day thinking, geez, I didn't get enough done. And that's an owner's mindset. By having that, again, opportunity comes to you. And opportunity is all around us. And if we don't open our minds up, we don't see.
And you have the people that are coming here on a daily basis with the same attitude that when they leave here, oh man, I could have got that done. Oh, I didn't get that done. All of a sudden they're starting to think like they're part of this business. They're starting to think like you. Okay, all right, so then fine. What do I do tomorrow? And they're not taking their work home. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they can take it home and they get aggravated at the dinner table, or they get aggravated while they're cooking, or they get aggravated while they're eating, dinner, watching TV. They're bringing it home to get their thought process going. And thinking is a very important thing with you. So being a leader, you're making people think. And I use the word inclusiveness because you're including your staff, having their input. Right. One of the big things to me is, how do you look at your employees and have them fit into your business activities? When you come up with stuff, how do you look at your employees and go to them with, activities?
Well, like anything else, you have to figure out where you're going with something, versus just coming up with, what's my plan, what's my goals for
Right.
Wood Palace, for myself.
Right.
And, when you turn your employees on it that way and help them see where you're gonna go, they will lead you there.
Sure.
Like I've said many years ago, that Wood Palace is way beyond Tim Holick. It has to be. People help
absolutely.
bring you
Sure.
to where you're going. I help bring them to where they want to go. And, as you can see, what we're working on in here is, I'm coaching and mentoring my people and helping them set goals, but it's going to be their goals. I don't do any thinking for them. It's basically questions, what do you want? When you decide what you want, all the things start to come together. Planning comes from, what do you want for an end result? A lot of people don't look at the end result. I always look at the end result, and I think that's what motivates me to always move forward. I'm always wanting to move forward. When I start another business, it's about building that business more than it is what I'm going to make in money.
That's the key. Whether you take it in building, where you've been a builder, you start with the foundation and work your way up, but you've planned it all the way. And in football, I mean, the perfect analogy is 1 yard at a time,
That's right.
and then 3 yards from goal.
That's right.
I mean, you're there.
That's right.
So you're always looking at getting there, but bringing people with you. And I think that's the difference between a boss and a leader. A boss is just going to do it to get it done. You're going to do it because you're going to get the job done and move on to the next thing. And have them think. Why do you need to think all the time? Let somebody around you think.
That's right.
They'll come to you with ideas. You got a bright staff here.
Exactly. And when you open people's minds up, they start thinking that way, and they
Yeah.
want to give ideas because it becomes fun.
Right.
It becomes, think about when we sit down and brainstorm, how much fun that is.
That's part of an open door policy that you have. That
Right.
comes from you. That comes from being here and understanding what makes it work. So when you sit in your office, you have an open door policy. None of us are afraid to walk in and say, hey, Tim, what do you think of that? And then have a 20-minute conversation, or sometimes an hour conversation.
That's right.
Whatever it is. You're enhancing them to enhance you.
Well, you're training their minds. You're training them to understand things as a whole. With business, it's all about the whole,
It
the
is.
entity.
Right.
Where are we going? What do we want? What do we want our customers to feel like? Everything is involved in that, and your people work with it every day. What better people to think of ideas when they're already doing it?
Right.
You
Your
know,
own people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't do their jobs, they do their jobs. They
Well,
do my job.
We're all adults here.
Exactly.
You don't need to sit and nitpick. You don't have to micromanage.
No.
And that's sometimes what a boss does. They'll sit and micromanage. And we don't
Yeah.
need that. We're adults. We're grown-ups. We've been through the mill. We know what we're doing. Let us
So
do our
true.
jobs. All we're doing is looking for your approval. Tim, is this the way you want it done?
That's right.
That's all. We know how to do
Just
it.
trying to follow the culture.
Exactly.
The
Follow-
culture is it's a
How
big
cool
thing
is
to
that?
set it first, and then basically you surround yourself with good people,
Yep.
creative people,
Sure.
people that are passionate, and when you create, not create, but when you bring people in like that, you create a system of people
See.
who bring us forward.
Sure.
And I think that's the most empowering part for me, is watching how my people develop and how much they achieve. To me, I feel bad for people who don't have much direction in their life, and I'm not trying to put that down in any way. It's all, if they could only get the feel of creating and awareness,
Yep.
they'd see what I'm talking about. I really believe we all need that purpose. We've talked about purpose. We've talked about things like that bring us the catalyst together for ourselves. But if you can just get people's minds thinking that way, it makes a big difference in their whole life, not just work. It becomes different at home too. And they open up other avenues, other lights, other opportunities. And there's opportunity out there for everyone. You can make money just sitting home if you want to think.
Yeah.
Isn't it true?
It's true. Absolutely. And a lot of people do it.
Exactly.
Another big thing is change. A lot of people don't like change. People don't want to do the changing things. We all know that in order to keep up in this world, it's not necessarily a change, but it could be adjustment. And when you make changes or you make adjustments within the business, where do you go with your employees?
Yeah, change. You have to change at lightning speed these days with technology.
Sure.
Things used to take decades to change. Now it's hourly, daily, monthly.
Yeah.
If you don't keep changing with the times and the demographic is such a big
Yes, it is.
part of a business.
It is now, right?
You have to understand who your customer is. You know, it's like building, you know, the new brewery and tap room for Berkeley Beer is, you know, I'm responsible for developing what we're doing, the marketing and stuff. I have to understand who our customer is. In all levels, they could be all different age groups.
Absolutely.
The millennials are so much different than us baby boomers.
Right.
You know, we go in there for the fun, the experience. They go in for the taste of beer. I've been asking. I ask them. That's another thing people don't do. They try to guess themselves. You can interview anybody in your life that you might or come across. I mean, I interviewed some people at another brewery last week just to get their thoughts. Why do you come to a place like this? And it was taste of beer. Right? So you're getting other mindsets and what they think, and that's what ties together everything for you. And when you create that for your employees, especially in the marketing, is what you helped me with.
Yep.
It brings it to another level.
It's involvement. Everyone's getting involved. It's a game plan.
Right.
It's a team effort. I mean, you can say it. We live it here.
We live it.
One of the huge things is, you know, how much of the value do you put in your team, you know, when you see things in business. And I know you get us all together and we all talk. You don't sit there and dictate to us. We all talk. And again, the biggest piece that you do is listen.
That's right. That's the key in life, whether you're doing sales or running a business. Like we're saying, we're not a boss, we're leaders. We're leading people, help coach them, mentor them. Everybody needs help. I mean, I have coaching and mentoring.
Sure,
I go
absolutely.
to constant seminars. I've had coaches. I've had different things.
Good ones, too.
Exactly. You have to invest in yourself. Nothing comes to us for free. You have to get things moving. And
Yep.
sometimes it takes you have to buy that. And here, I give it because that's what I'm doing. I'm leading people to different levels to make us grow to different levels. I want everybody to have the owner's mindset. Owner's mindset
Sure.
is always looking forward. What do we need to do? How do we become better? And what do we need to get done? And who do we need to become? That's such a key, is who do we need to become? Because I have to change constantly because things change constantly.
Right.
Now I am adapting myself to this coaching mentoring part, so who do I have to become to lead you people forward?
But you're thinking, see, this is the piece too, is you're not sitting here and you're not dictating. You're being a leader by looking at what's going on in the outside world, bringing that inside here, talking to the folks who now already have that idea because it's part of the culture here. Oh yeah, no, I read about that the other day. Oh no, I heard somebody talking the other day. They're bringing it to you. When we have events here, I put on the events, Amy and I do all the prep work, we get it all ready. Things maybe go wrong, we fix all that piece, and then when the event starts, my job is I go around and listen to what people are talking about.
That's right.
And what everyone's talking about, I'll go to you and say, it's a success because everyone's listening to what other people are talking about. And it's networking, but we're actually forming a bigger leadership by putting on our events.
That's right. That's right. We are, and we're learning from it, and that's an owner's mindset. You have to keep learning
Yes.
in order to go forward because things change so much. And the best thing for one of my people to come to me is to say, I was thinking about this. What do you think?
Yeah.
And I like it when people, think and say, geez, we've had this area in the showroom this way for so long. Why don't we think of doing this? That's thinking, they're creating. I can't create everything at this size. I could at a smaller size, but I can't.
No.
Now, so you create you bring good people in, then you create their mindsets to think along the same lines as an owner.
Right.
And
I
that's
think
what it is.
you have that here. I've listened to some of the conversations. I've seen people walking by your door, and I'll say, grab the door frame and lean in and say whatever it was on their mind. And then next thing you know, you're having a 20-minute conversation on how to make that work.
Right.
That's leadership.
Right, and I get a lot of people that come up to me and say, and they know about us, they hear about us and things like that, and they say, geez, wish we could work at a place like that. Where I work, it seems like the boss is over my... Well, remember in life, and I know some people are trapped in their jobs because if they don't have a job, they're not going to live.
Right.
But sometimes you have to think ahead and prepare that, because if you're not happy, what are you getting out of life? It's not just money.
Right.
What are you doing to your body, your mind? Where could you go somewhere else to add more value? The one thing that one of the most interesting things I read was Jack Welch in the 80s when he took over GE. Very bright man, very tough man.
Yep.
But his theory was, at the end of the year, managers had to get rid of the bottom 10% of people. People looked at that as, my God, they call it Neutron Jack. That's horrible. But his thought wasn't for the evil part. His thought was, if they're not thriving here, give them a chance to thrive somewhere else.
Correct. And then give him a chance to bring in somebody who's going to thrive there.
Right.
It's all part of the moving around process. It was addition from subtraction.
You're right.
And I think that works a lot of times.
Yeah, those people might do better somewhere else.
Absolutely.
You know, always people within always did. But the next year, those people come on the top, they could be in the bottom 10% the next year. If they're not thinking, if they're not going forward. So in that process, I think that's a great process if you're helping your people and mentoring them and leading them.
Yep.
Because that way they have a better chance of succeeding. And if they don't, then maybe that's not the right place. Maybe they're valued someplace else. I'm a firm believer in, you know, if you've been doing the same thing for a long time and you're really dead from it, then you really should reinvent yourself. I like to reinvent myself.
Sure.
I've done other things too that I've gotten myself involved. I mean, I've never ran, you know, a brewery tap room, but it's exciting.
It's
that
fun
I'm
you have
involved.
now.
Exactly.
It's a lot of work, but you're having fun
Yeah.
at it because you're looking at it the same way you always have. You're not going to go in there and have just a strict mind of, this is what we need to do. You're educating yourself and bringing that whole value. You're learning from Glenn, who understands that part of the business.
That's right.
You're learning from him because you're going to be a leader.
That's right.
You're going to lead somebody else. You're doing interviews for people to come work there. You're going to be dealing with vendors. That's where leadership comes from, and that's the difference between what I've seen in the past from a boss compared to being around folks like you who are leaders. And I've been around other leaders, and it makes a big difference. And
you've talked about them before, so you see the difference. Some people don't.
They don't.
You know, some people need to be managed that way.
Yeah.
Some people need to tell them what they're doing today. Not
And that's
everybody's the
fine.
same. That's fine.
And that's fine. But there's different pieces of that, and if you want to, you know, invigorate your life in your job, I mean, that's why they call it work. You go into a job, be part of it.
Right.
Jump into it. And if your job is you just want to do 8 hours of doing this, that's all well and good. But don't stand back and say later on, oh my God, how come I didn't get this? Well, this is the type of person you are, that's what you're going to get. If you're going to do other things, that's what you're going to get.
That's right.
That's the difference between being a boss and being a leader. You're bringing that out in folks.
That's right. They just need to find it. They have it. They just need to find it.
Series 3 of our Fireside Chats is coming to an end. We don't want to drag on too long and bore you, but we will touch on these subjects many, many times. Tim, always great for the two of us to sit down.
Yes.
We'll do this in another week. I'm going to come up with a topic I think that everyone's going to like, and it's what you talk about always, thinking.
Thinking, exactly.
Thinking.
Well, I had a fun time with you today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.